This is a quick grammar review for students of English as a second language.
Again, where's the problem?
Grammar Topic 7. Comparisons. There are 4 important points to remember when making comparisons. Rule 1. Never compare apples with oranges. Rule 2. Observe the rules of parallelism. Rule 3. Never mix or combine comparative phrases or expressions. Rule 4. Use like when referring to a noun, and use as when referring to a verb or clause.
Let's look a bit closer at Rule 1. Never compare apples with oranges. Example 1. Alexandra's approach to people is completely different than his father. What are we actually comparing in this sentence? It's Alexandra's approach to people versus his father. That makes no sense. Why would we compare an approach to a person? Sounds like apples and oranges to me. We need to change the sentence so that approaches are compared. Alexandra's approach to people is completely different than his father's. Now you can see that a small change can completely alter the meaning of a sentence, especially in comparisons. Here an ellipsis is seen at the end of the correct version. Alexandra's approach to people is completely different than his father's approach to people. Because the possessive, father's, is grammatically parallel with Alexandra's. So the comparison is now logical and grammatically correct. Just a quick reminder to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Share and like this video if you think it will benefit others. And don't forget, English skills are free skills, so share the love. Example 2. The culture of Japan is similar to France as both set laws, rules and regulations to structure life. This again sounds okay to the untrained ear. But do we really want to compare culture and France? Correct version. The culture of Japan is similar to that of France as both set laws, rules and regulations to structure life. By adding the reference, that of, we refer the reader back to the first part of the comparison, the culture of Japan. When we talk about apples and oranges, we mean that we should compare apples with apples and oranges with oranges. In this case, it should be culture versus culture. In the previous example, it should have been approach with approach.
Rule 2. Observe the rules of parallelism. Yes, as you have already seen, this rule is back and integral to correct grammatical structures in comparisons. Example 3. She was more polite to you than me. There is a word missing in this sentence. Can you see what the problem is here? Let's look at the correct version. She was more polite to you than to me. Did you spot the difference? The sentence does not follow the laws of parallelism. The resulting comparison is illogical and the incorrect pronoun is used. So by adding the two, we know that the meaning is not, she was more polite to you than I was to you. So if the original sentence had been, she was more polite to you than I, the implicit meaning would be okay. So again, just a small change to the sentence alters the meaning completely. Example 4. Her latest article on cryptocurrencies received more notice on social media than all her previous ones combined. In this example, the meaning is clear, but there is again one word missing, so the grammar is not correct. Let's compare with the correct version. Her latest article on cryptocurrencies received more notice on social media than did all her previous ones combined. By adding the word did, we have corrected the mistake. There must be a verb of some form in both parts of the comparison for it to be parallel.
Rule 3. Never mix or combine comparative phrases and expressions. Example 5. Bitcoin's price rise was far more greater than gold's. This example combines two comparatives. The first is far greater and the second is more than. This type of mistake is usually one that native English speakers immediately notice. However, for foreign students of English as a second language, this mistake is very easy to make. Fortunately, we understand what you want to say, so usually this error does not create confusion. The correct version, Bitcoin's price rise was far greater than gold's. Congrats to the king of crypto. Example 6. In terms of percentage of total, Africa is losing twice as much land to desertification than is China. Can you spot the mistake? Let's look at the correct version. In terms of percentage of total, Africa is losing twice as much land to desertification as is China. The comparative phrase is as much as.
And in the incorrect version, the writer tried to say as much than. Again, no meaning is lost, but the sentence sounds awkward and unprofessional.
Rule 4. Use like when referring to a noun and as when referring to a verb or clause. Yes, we can compare nouns, verbs, and clauses, or perhaps an easier way to think of this is we can compare something or someone with something or someone else. Or we can compare what something or someone does with what something else or someone else does. Let's take a closer look. Example 7. The bridesmaids looked as characters from a Jane Austen novel. This sentence compares bridesmaids versus characters, so the use of as is incorrect. The meaning is literally describing how the bridesmaids used their eyes, not what they were wearing, etc. Correct version: the bridesmaids looked like characters from a Jane Austen novel.
Just a quick reminder to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Share and like this video if you think it will benefit others. And don't forget, English skills are free skills, so share the love.
By way of contrast, let's look at a sentence that compares the actions of two different nouns. Example 8. The rare earth metals industry is making dramatic changes to become more sustainable, like every industry it supplies should be. This example may sound okay to the ear, but using like to compare is making and should be is incorrect. Here is the correct version. The rare earth metals industry is making dramatic changes to become more sustainable, as every industry it supplies should be. The difference is noticeable in an environment comprised of professionals. However, in a casual conversation, do not stress about this mistake.